What a pleasure to have Dr. Subhash Goyal, the President of Indian Association of Tour Operator and Chairman of the STIC Travel Group of Companies, which is the largest GSA for the hospitality and the aviation industry in India. What a pleasure to have you, sir, today at the ITFT Education Group.
It is a pleasure and an honor for me.
Thank you, sir.
And I'm really impressed to see such a wonderful campus and a unique campus where you're doing things which other people are not doing.
Thank you, sir. On this World Tourism Day 2014, what could have been better than to have a man of his stature for the last 4 decades who have been deeply associated with the tourism, hospitality and aviation. He has got a great contribution. Let me share with you more than 2,400 national interviews he has got to his credit on Indian televisions. Also, he has got a large number of international television interviews, and besides that, his contribution to the journalism, particularly the travel trade, the hospitality, the aviation. You talk about the e-newspapers, you talk about Daily Times of India, Hindustan Times, ET Now, and a couple of other things. Sir, today, on this particular day, when India is prospering, progressing under the dynamic and the dedicated leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji, we are scaling the new heights, and I'm sure you're happy with the budget also, which has been given a couple of months back by the present new government. Let's start from the budget, and then I will move on to other aspects.
I think this is the most exciting period in the history of this country, particularly for us in the tourism industry, because first time in the history of this country, in the union budget, tourism has been mentioned very prominently. Not only this, first time in the history since independence, from the ramparts of the Red Fort, the Prime Minister of India in his independence speech talked about tourism and cleanliness. Both the things I am very passionate about, and I have written about both the things in my book on poverty eradication through tourism. And I really feel that as far as the tourism industry is concerned, the most exciting time has come. अच्छे दिन आ गए हैं, and even better days have yet to come, because the sheer announcement of e-visa, which is going to be implemented before the end of this year, is going to really give tourism in India a kickstart. I estimate that from 7 million inbound tourists, tourism is going to grow in the next 2 years to at least 14 to 15 million, which means a 100% increase in 2 years. So I think no other country in the world is facing this increase, and no other country has so much opportunity in tourism growth as India has. As I mentioned earlier, that there is no other country in the world which is the birthplace of 4 great religions: Hinduism, Buddhism, Sikhism and Jainism. So Saudi Arabia, after oil, makes a lot of money from Hajj. So we can make all the Vatican of the Sikhs, the Buddhists, the Jains, the Hindus are all here. Not only this, the Sufi shrines, which is spiritual side of Islam, from Bulleh Shah, Nizamuddin Awliya, Alauddin Chishti, Ajmer Sharif, all these Sufi saints, their memorials, their shrines are here. We also have one of the 12 disciples of Jesus Christ, St. Thomas, buried in Chennai, and the only the only modern saint, Mother Teresa, her memorial is in Calcutta. So there is no other country which has so much to offer, but it is really a tragedy that we have not even 0.6% of the world tourism, whereas a country with a population of over 1.2 billion, we should be having something close to 30 to 40 million tourists. But anyway, the journey to the moon starts with a single step, and I think that step has really been taken by the new government.
Wonderful.
under the leadership of Narendra Modi.
Okay. Uh, while addressing the galaxy of the youth this morning, when you delivered the keynote address to the younger generation, which is having travel, tourism, hospitality, and aviation, you made a mention that besides religious tourism, you touched a very important point on the medical tourism. Would you be kind enough to amplify a little bit more onto that?
See, what has happened, and I mentioned this in my speech in Chicago, which I did recently, that today if a heart surgery in US is costing $10,000, it costs one-fourth the price in India. If a brain surgery or a knee replacement or any of these surgeries, because the quality of the hospitals and the quality of the doctors is the same, because these doctors were working in the US or in UK who have come and set up shop here. So medical tourism is another great opportunity on which, and we are getting a lot of tourists from Africa, patients from Africa, from Afghanistan, and even from European countries, because there is no waiting, and the same amount of money which they spend there, for half the amount they can not only get their medical treatment, but they can also have a tour of the country and still save money. So it's a great opportunity. And other fields, I look at adventure tourism, because up till now, people thought that the Himalayas are only in Nepal, whereas 75% of the Himalayas are in India, and these are the world's most beautiful mountain ranges. So the Ministry of Tourism is now spending a few crores in marketing the incredible Indian Himalayas. And I think for this, what will happen is that in the summer season, when it is off season for the inbound operators, you see these people will come to the mountains, and this will generate a lot of additional travel. Plus, India is the birthplace of yoga and spiritualism. So a lot of people are now coming for yoga tourism and for holistic tourism, for Ayurvedic massages, for Ayurvedic treatment. Because Ayurveda is a science which has a cure for certain diseases which allopathy doesn't have. And Ayurveda has no side effects. Now these are the treasures of India which need to be marketed all over the world. And with e-visa being introduced, we will have millions of travelers who were otherwise hesitating to send their passports because most of the embassies and consulates are only in the main cities of the country. And the travelers are coming from secondary cities, 3-tier and 2-tier cities. So I think I see a very bright future for tourism in this country.
Okay. So besides, let's take it the spiritual part, the health and wellness, the medical tourism, the spas. There is another area, because India is known for making a lot of commercial films, the Bollywood, and a lot of television serials. We are a media entertainment industry, so well. And particularly in this College on the World Tourism Day, when you delivered the keynote address, and sitting right over here in the studio, the lab which is there by the media entertainment, cinema and tourism. That means media entertainment and tourism. When we put together, there's a term coined called cinematic tourism. How do you look at, in case if we wish to have the Bollywood and the Hollywood and a couple of other areas?
There is tremendous future. The Northeast and Jammu and Kashmir and Himachal,
where the Himalayas move.
In adventure tourism.
Okay.
We need to train these people in adventure sports, in mountain climbing. We don't have, and I think it will be a good idea if your institute starts a mountaineering program and rescue. You see, what we have seen is, now what happened in Jammu and Kashmir and what happened in other states, Uttarakhand. You see, we need students who are not only doing adventure tourism and and mountaineering. We need them to be expert in rescue operations.
Yes.
And we should create a force on rescue operations, and that would be a very good idea. In fact, and I think that is the need of the hour. And then another, you see, we have thousands of kilometers of coastline. We are not doing anything of water sports. We are not doing anything of cruise tourism within the region. Our cruise terminals are in very bad shape. Like we used to protest about our airports, now we have started protesting regarding the seaports. You see, we feel ashamed with the. I represent 3 cruise lines in India.
Would you be just naming them? That would be very kind of you.
Holland America Cruise Line, which is one of the world's oldest cruise ships.
Okay.
Seaborne Cruises and Windstar Cruises.
Wow.
Now these cruises bring thousands of passengers, but a lot of them shy away from India because the condition of the ports is pathetic.
Okay.
And the clearances, take a lot of time. So
it should become hassle-free.
It should not only be hassle-free, but the cruise terminals, like you see the Hong Kong, the old airport they have converted into a cruise terminal.
Yes.
So the cruise terminal has to be as beautiful and as comfortable as an air terminal.
Okay.
So I mean, if we have a cruise terminal in Mumbai, it should be better than the Mumbai International Airport. But right now, if you go to the Mumbai cruise terminal, what you see is, cargo and garbage and all that. So I think the Modi government with the Clean India campaign, which
is one of their agenda.
Yeah, is one of their main agendas. So I think the day is not far off when this country is going to benefit a great deal from cruise tourism. Another potential, when you talk about the future trend, this country has is on river cruises. You see, today if you go to Egypt and you go to Cairo, the most exciting thing is the cruise on River Nile, right? So we are not doing those cruises. Why can't we have a cruise from Delhi to Agra on the Jamuna River, right? So I mean that will be very interesting, and in the cruise you can show some, we have over 30 World Heritage Monuments. And if you go to UK and many other countries, these World Heritage Monuments, useless monuments, they are brought in life because they have dressed the guides in those dresses of those periods, and they do something, activity. So why can't we do it in our forts, in our palaces, in all the archaeological survey monuments? Now, I was, as I just mentioned, just coming back from Chicago. All the 3 receptions that we had, which were done by the mayor of Chicago and the president of the Brand USA program, one was done in the National Arts Center, the other was done in the National Museum, and the third was also. So all the receptions were being done in historical places.
Okay.
And when I went to the National Museum, the museum shop was also open. So we were a few thousand people from all over the world, and a lot of people went and did shopping there. So you see, what I'm saying is that this country has a tremendous future, and this country is the greatest show on planet Earth. And the music, the culture, the dances, the rhythm, the cuisine, the heritage, the flora, the fauna, the wildlife, the vegetation is so wonderful that every state is a country of its own.
Wow.
And by visiting India, you can visit about 30 countries in one. And you see, but what needs to be done is, we should not ape the West. Every airport, for the example, the airport in Guwahati should depict all the 7 sisters of the Northeast.
Okay.
And the airport in Bagdogra should depict Darjeeling and Sikkim. So, so when you go to an airport of a particular state, and this I have mentioned in my book also, that airport needs to, first impression is the last impression.
Yes.
And the first impression has to excite the people.
Yes.
And when a person is excited, you see, today people are not just coming for sightseeing, which was there earlier.
Yes.
Because today with the 3D, videos and 3D, internet images. They can watch everything, all the sightseeing they can watch as if they're virtually there in front of you. And they can be even photographed. The technology is there as if you are visiting the Taj Mahal. But what now people are looking for are experiences. You see, so why can't we have, people dressed as Shah Jahan and the traditional dresses,
Historical
at the Taj Mahal?
perspectives, yes.
Because we have to change with the changing times.
That's a wonderful
We
idea.
have to harness and understand the psychology of the incoming tourists. And we have to see what the competing countries are doing. And we have to be one step ahead. And I am 100% sure, and this was my thesis for my PhD also, that we have 350 million people who are still below poverty line. Even we may be having the largest number of millionaires and multimillionaires and billionaires in the world. But until these 350 million people come up, right? Whatever progress we are doing are islands in prosperity in an ocean of poverty. So we cannot, this nation, this country, cannot have, after 60 years of independence, cannot see so much poverty. My blood boils when I see that amount of, suffering, the misery, the poverty, the hunger, the disease, the filth all over this country. And I think we need to, and tourism is one industry which can give millions of jobs. And within 10, 20 years, if this government remains, which is an honest government, and they are able to implement some of the ideas which Mr. Modi has and which, in my interaction with him, I have been able to understand and also share with him, that he's a great man with a lot of vision. And this country is blessed to have a Prime Minister
Of his stature.
who's totally committed and who's totally honest, and he doesn't carry any baggage with him. You see, so such a man can only revolutionize the change in this country. And if we continue for the next 15 years, I'm telling you, we will not only beat China, but we will also beat America as far as the economic development and all this is concerned. And because this is a great country, it has great people. If we can run the economies of the world, why can't we run our own economy? If today you see the entire west coast of USA, all the motels and the hotels are owned by Gujaratis. If you go to the Silicon Valley, 50% of the people, whether it is IBM, Microsoft, Oracle, or any of these, Apple, they are people of Indian origin. If Indian doctors and nurses are removed from American and British hospitals, their health services will come to a standstill. If the 3.5 million people, Indian people who are working in the Middle East, if they are brought back to India, their economies will crash. So we are working for other countries. Why can't we work for this? So this government is trying to give people opportunities, and they are trying to change the way things have been happening in the future. The very fact that earlier, we had the Jawar Rozgar Yojana, the Janta Rozgar Yojana, where money was being sent for the poor people, but the pipeline through which the money was going was leaking, and it was never reaching the poorest of the poor. But today, by opening these accounts, and the money is going to be transferred directly to these people. So I think a lot of things which are happening, the government offices have started working on time. And in fact, the Prime Minister is the first one to reach the office. So if the leader is good, then the followers have to follow. So I think there's a great opportunity in tourism. There's a great opportunity in growth. And there's a great opportunity for this country. And there's a great opportunity for the youth you were talking about. for the succeeding generation. But the youth needs to be empowered. You see, I was very happy to see that you are doing this finishing school and you have some skill development.
Which is the add-on value to the traditional education.
Because traditional education,
yes.
You see, I remember when I was president of Delhi University Students' Union, we had participated in a seminar which was done by Dr. D.S. Kothari, who was the then chairman of the UGC. And it was a 3-day conference and I was an active participation. What he had recommended was that immediately after college, there should be a job-oriented education. And polytechnics have to be attached to industrial houses. And but unfortunately, except the revision of the pay scale of the teachers and the opening of the NCRT, no other recommendation of the Kothari Commission report was implemented. And I felt very bad. In fact, I gave a press statement also that some stupid member of parliament, set aside the report. So you see, there is no point having a report if you don't have to implement it. And I think if you go to the archives in the government, there are a lot of reports which have not been implemented. The first, I remember, the first agriculture minister of India, Mr. Rao, he had given a plan for linking of the rivers. And that plan, if had been implemented, today the floods which we see in Kashmir or in Uttarakhand or in the UP or in Bihar,
these wouldn't have been there.
Wouldn't have been there.
Yeah.
So you see, we make reports, we are very good in planning, but what we need is implementation. So I have been demanding visa on arrival and e-visa for the last 20 years.
And finally it's going to see the daylight.
In less than 100 days this government has implemented. Wonderful. So, I mean, I see a great future for this country.
2 points which emerged from your last this one. This morning when you were interacting with the Galaxy of the Youth, there was a question and there was an interaction which somebody mentioned. Let's take 3 different components. One is aviation, one is tourism, one is hospitality. Now, with regard to hospitality, it's pretty visible right from the entrance to the hotel that there's a front office, there's a food and beverages, and there's a banquet, and there's a housekeeping, and a couple of other administrative and other related areas. So, more hotel rooms are coming up of different categories, different star categories, and jobs are being multiplied accordingly. Aviation, you see more and more aircrafts are coming. So you see the ground staff, you see the cabin crew, you see the city office staff, you see the sales and marketing and everything. With regard to travel and tourism, particularly when you talk about the portals like Make My India, MakeMyTrip.com, or you find Yatra.com, or for that matter, many other, and we are becoming more IT savvy, where the customer or the consumer or the ultimate beneficiary is putting heads down and from the credit card they are taking. So one of the questions which emerged this morning was very interesting. I would humbly request you once again, because you are basically looking after one of the most important body of India when I talk about travel agents and tour operators, Indian Association of Tour Operators. Now, how would you like to, or what basically would you like to give a message, particularly for travel and tourism segment, so that the educational hubs, educational institutions emphasize that area more?
See, firstly, all these three things are interdependent. The products is your country or a destination. The product, the airlines or coach companies or cruise companies or transport companies who bring the people from point 1 to point 2. The hotels actually house the people and give them the comfort. But all these three things will fail if the travel agent and tour operator is not there. Because we are the marketing arm of the hoteliers, of the airlines, and the cruise companies, and the bus companies, and the destinations. So, who are we? We are basically sales and marketing people, right? We are providing a service. Now, in sales and in the travel and tourism, I think the most important thing is that for selling any product, I would consider this a product. So destination is a product, the airline is a product, the hotel is a product. Now the hotel people have to focus on their product. The airline people have to see that the airline operates on time performance, safety and security, and cargo and other things. Now, the travel and tour operators are the extended arm of all these. Now, if I'm a marketing, if I'm a travel agent, I have to market Macau or I have to market Sri Lanka. Like we represent Sri Lankan Airlines and Sri Lankan Holidays. So we send about 30,000 people to Sri Lanka every year. So we must know the product, right? We must know what the competition is, and we must know that what is the money that people can afford
Purchasing power.
for purchasing power of this product. And then we have to tailor make our package in such a way that we are able to sell both the things. So we have the job of actually filling up the airlines and the hotels. So unless and until, now what is happening in most of the institutes is that they are giving them education on the destination. Fine. इंडिया में ये टूरिज्म प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, ये वर्ल्ड हेरिटेज मॉन्यूमेंट्स हैं, ये ट्रैवल एजेंट है, ये टूर ऑपरेटर है, ये that's all. But what you need to do is how to be a successful tour operator. What are the marketing techniques? And marketing techniques are changing. We are basically sales and marketing people, right? When people ask me, are you a travel agent? I said, no, I am a marketing company, right? In Singapore, I have registered my company as Stick Marketing. If I can sell packages and fill up hotels, right? I can sell anything. I can sell consumer products because the technique for marketing and selling is the same. So what you need to focus more, which none of the institutes are doing, is to focus on internet marketing, on social media marketing, on your mobile phone marketing, on selling techniques. You see, I mean, abroad there are institutes for sales, there are institutes for marketing. So marketing and sales itself should form 90% or 70% of the curriculum. And the product knowledge should be 10 to 20% only. Because what we are doing is we are giving 90% of the product knowledge and we are giving only 10% of sales and marketing. So with the result, वो तोते की तरह product तो पढ़ लेते हैं, but they are not able to sell the product. And that is what I was trying to tell the students today, that if you are in Sikkim, you try to understand what the Sikkim needs and try to study the passenger, what his needs are and how you can provide a service to satisfy those needs. Now, once they understand this, then they are entrepreneurs. You see, and they have that passion and the fire, then they won't look for jobs. Right? See, the whole thing is that, and if you have that fire, people will give you jobs. I'm looking for people with fire. I did interview 1,000 people, I get only 2 or 3 people who have fire in their belly. See? So, what institute should do? I mean, I was very happy to see Swami Vivekananda's quotes in your place, because that man has put fire in a lot of bellies.
Yes.
Right? Even when I went to meet Narendra Modi, he had Vivekananda. I went to the tourism minister's house, he invited me here. So Vivekananda is a great inspiration to a lot of us. I mean, he's not a Hindu monk or anything. He's a man who puts blood into your veins. So, so what you need is, you need to motivate people and you have to give them the basics of marketing and how to be a good salesman. Right?
That has to be emphasized more.
What is the difference between a good marketing manager and what is the difference between a good salesman? So if you are a good salesman, for selling you need a thorough knowledge of the product. You need to know the needs of the customers. Then you need to have thorough knowledge of the competitors' activities. The competition में क्या है? You need to have a price which is sellable after making a margin, and then communication, that you should be able to communicate in such a strategic manner that you are able to, create in the other person an eager want to possess what you have. So that is salesmanship. जबरदस्ती आप किसी के गले में कोई प्रोडक्ट डालोगे नहीं, उसको ये कहोगे यार इससे मुझे ये फायदा है. Then only, so if you are able to teach this to the students, you will be doing a great service.
Wonderful, wonderful. I think you have packaged the whole travel and tourism, the plethora and the fraternity under sight. Nice. What message would you like to give while concluding this particular presentation? And of course, I would request you that you must present me your Stick Travels brochure, and you must present our library, your poverty eradication and economic development through the tourism, what you have authored, the great hard work of yours to our resource center, so that the youth of tomorrow, they can go through this. But before that, I would request you, particularly to the younger generation, what message would you like to give on World Tourism Day 2014 as the head of the entire travel and tourism industry?
Well, my message to the youth of this country is that you are living in the most exciting times. You are living in a country which is the greatest show on this planet. You are living in the country which has a lot of things to offer to the world. You have to equip yourself. You have thorough knowledge of all the assets of your country, and you should market your country all over the world. And once you travel all over the world marketing your country, you will feel proud, and you are actually ambassador of your country, and you are trying to sell your country to the whole world. And when people come, they will buy our products also. I mean, when the tourist comes, he wants to buy Indian handicrafts, he wants to buy Indian carpets, he wants to buy Indian gem and jewelry. So, you are doing the greatest service to the nation. So, I think that this is the message. And since you are young, we have the largest number of young people in the world. Today, if you look at Europe, they are all aging population. The future is for India, and we have to prepare this succeeding generation to conquer the world.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir. It's such a wonderful, inspiring, encouraging, and intoxicating presentation and a talk. We would request you that kindly present a book to
Visiting your institute was an inspiration.
Thank you, sir.
And
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
very inspired. And I'm thrilled.
Thank you, sir.
And that's what I've written.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
May God bless both of you.
Thank you, sir.
And your team.
Thank you, sir.
That you take this to great heights.
The entire ITFT Education Group Chandigarh is deeply indebted to you for your gratitude and for your magnanimity. I would request you, sir, kindly present a book to us, and you can write a few words onto this. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It goes to the younger generation, to our resource center, and this is beautiful. The Stick Travel Group. Thank you very much for presenting this as well. We would like to share with all the younger generation. Wow, you have the entire India's map, and you have all the offices and the great work in the aviation, tourism, and hospitality by the Stick Travel Group, sir. Thank you, sir.